This is the Coin It podcast, sponsored by VCD Auctions. Have fun like a collector. Think like an investor. Whether you're just a hobbyist or looking for an alternative investment with rare coins, paper money, NFTs, or art, your host, Charles Jonath, is covering it all. Now your host, Charles Jonath.
All right, so we're here with Knxtti. Knxtti is an art dealer, and he's more than that. He's a marketeer. He's in a multitude of businesses, but mainly he's been a real important figure as far as in the up-and-coming art world, and most notably these days by pushing, Knxtti to becoming one of the biggest NFT artists to date. So how did you get started in all this stuff, Knxtti?
Well, with art, I've been doing art since a child, so I always loved art. But as far as like getting into it with Knxtti and becoming an art dealer, I just never wanted to go the gallery route because I felt it was so controlled, like they control you. So I was looking for an alternative to that market, and I found the NFTs because I was into crypto also. And, when I first got into it, I was like scouring the internet looking for artists that I could invest into also because I like to buy art too. And I came across Knxtti, who I was familiar with, like his cover works that he was doing with Future and some of the artists in the hip hop industry. Right. And, at that time he had NFTs up, but he never sold any. So I just started buying up a few of them. And once I acquired a nice number of them, then I started to show it to my crowd because I educate people on crypto. So I just started showing it around and people liked it. And then it became a thing, like, right? A storm. It just became a thing. And I was able to sell one of my pieces I acquired for him. I acquired it about 0.25 ETH, and I sold it for 25 ETH. So crazy 100x my money.
Yeah, the market was getting crazy there for a while.
It was getting crazy, but I always respected the market. I've been in the crypto game for a while, so I knew ups and downs. So at that point when I sold that, because I sold that for a nice amount, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to at least take some profit because this market is, there's going to be a bear market to it too. So
sure, I
was able to at least get some nice profit out of it before the current market conditions,
Well, that's great. Like you got it early on because, I mean, when I saw this stuff, I just, I seen it as a simple form, just digital art. That's really what it is. It's attached to crypto, which is makes it a little bit more complicated in a way. Right. Like technologically, it's great because using blockchain technology to transfer the art and ownership, and there's a lot of benefits there that make NFTs really cool. But that it being associated with crypto and the buying and selling and the trading of this stuff and the speculation, then it brings this whole other element that kind of has been looming over the whole digital art world, I think. And we're gonna just have to ride out these cycles and see how it goes. I don't know how it's gonna be. I mean, what do you think? Like, I mean, most of the stuff was on the Ethereum blockchain, but I mean, do you ever see this stuff going to like what would be a new token, or how does it survive, and what do you think is going to be the outcome?
Well, now it's on multiple blockchains now. A lot of blockchains adapted it, so you have Solana and all these different blockchains that offer NFTs. The only thing is, and you're seeing it now in current conditions, what blockchain is going to last? That's the thing. Yeah. That's the big question because you just had so many people just getting into the game, and a lot of people didn't do the due diligence to really set the technology up before they launched it. Everybody was in a rush to launch it, so now we have a lot of projects that are falling under. NFTs, actually, I did a project. My last drop that I did, I detached it kind of from crypto. It still lived on a blockchain, but we did it through a vending machine so people were able to pay with fiat. And that kind of really
interesting.
That was a really good run because, a lot of people that aren't crypto native, they still want these digital collectibles. I even call it digital collectibles, which is more palatable
that's what it is.
NFTs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, once we did it like that in the vending machine, I got way more people that were interested because they were like, I don't necessarily want to be into crypto, but I do like NFTs and I do want to experience it. So I think in the future that it's going to be more options. It won't be just crypto. It'd be more options for you to buy it. Nifty Gateway is another one that you can buy it with fiat cash. And I mean, this is just a market cycle to me. Even though I
Right.
see, like a lot of companies and, with the Sam Bankman-Fried and all this is just a great case to bring in regulation. Because as much as I love the talk of decentralization and everything being decentralized, I love that. But I also know that if you leave it up to human greed, that we won't have a market in a few
Right.
years if we left it
Exactly.
like that.
Yeah.
So I
Exactly.
think centralization is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing for the market.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I kind of been pushing that as well. There needs to be some sort of accountable party, that
Yes.
in the mix of this stuff. Like, I think there's a lot of merit to the technology, but when it's wrapped inside of this token that can be traded and stuff like that, that's all fine and dandy. But then when there's just so many people coming in, so much speculation and this stuff, and everything's completely unregulated, and you got these companies basically stealing money, it's just
Hmm.
it's a bad scenario.
And
So
that's what it is. When without regulation, you have these bad actors that can come in. I understand people love the freedom of being able to trade and things like that without the bank, but when you get your money taken or your wallet hacked and there's nobody that you can call and ask for assistance, that comes with decentralization. So people basically have to think that through. You know, um,
well,
no
that's what
government is
bothers me
anarchy.
too. It's like
Yeah,
even big companies like Coinbase, you can't get them
yeah,
on the phone.
exactly.
So
And
what if you're
the
trying
whole
to
thing about
sell?
money is it has to be trust, right? So I have to have somebody to
Absolutely.
trust in order for money to be,
Yeah.
for it to be a real currency. So if there's no
Right.
trust and there's nobody I can talk to, that's a big problem.
Right. Well, financial services, that industry, it's built on goodwill,
Right.
that it's a big part of the industry. What can make a company valuable in a lot of ways is the goodwill that they built over the years. So, and
Exactly.
I think that's what this stuff needs. It needs a clearinghouse essentially.
Exactly. And a
So,
lot of people came into the market with the Wall Street bets and all that kind of stuff with like it was just like an influx of people that came in and their only motive was to flip a coin to make more money
right.
on their coin. So it was just a bunch of uneducated people that just flooded the market with Dogecoin and these kind of
Yeah.
coins. So it's just purging itself right now,
It reminded me of like the stock pump and dumps, and
Yeah,
I seen a
exactly.
lot of that stuff. I remember from that. You got to understand, like I had a brokerage account when I was 15, 16, and that was like during the first dot-com boom. I don't know. It's probably,
Nice.
I don't know but if that's before your time or not, but yeah, that it was a weird thing to watch. And, you see kind of who made it out. I mean, look at Amazon today as a product of the
Exactly.
first dot-com boom, but it's, a big company today. So I think it'll be the same there. I see NFTs
Yeah.
as surviving because it's a digital collectible. There's a lot of merit to it. Obviously, there's a lot of, utility use cases for blockchain technology,
Right.
especially in ownership of things. That's what I wanted to do it with, really rare coins and actually have it as a form of title, like almost like you
Right.
would transfer digital title. I mean, even properties, homes to this day we use an archaic system to transfer titles,
Right.
that using a title late company, and then it has to go to the county clerk, and, there's issues. Someone could actually commit fraud, and it takes months or if not years sometimes to notice that someone stole your title. There's all
Hmm.
kinds of weird things that could happen.
Right. I
So
mean, in the digital world, I'll say this to people because people get into it with a fantastical idea. It's still it's still a lot of responsibility in the digital world. So you still gotta basically know your devs, make sure the person who's handling your smart contracts is somebody you trust. Because there's always back doors that can be built, and that's what we're
right.
seeing now
Right.
with Bankman Fried in them. So it's really just understanding this market and not just jumping into it for the flip. Really
Mhm.
digging in and understanding it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, I mean, you're an artist yourself. Like, what
Yep.
you do mainly mixed medium, right?
Yep.
Wow.
I
So
express in many different ways because I do music, I write, I do paintings, I do drawings, I do digital art. I'm just an all-around artist. I just like to express through art, different forms of art. But the main art that people have known me for would be like my canvas work
mhm,
and my NFT work.
right. So, and is that what because I know you've done a lot of consulting and stuff for companies and like Young
Hmm.
Money and then Sony Records and stuff like that. Was that mainly for NFT stuff or
Not
a
even
not even? Okay.
when I was dealing with those companies, it was before, this whole wave, but I was basically moving artists onto the internet period because they didn't have any idea of the internet. So I was setting them up online, setting up their websites, helping them with merchandising, helping them build their fan base, introducing them to MailChimp and all these different programs that they can use to kind of like manage their fan base. That's mostly what I did with those companies. And that was early on,
Wow.
like this is early in Nipsey's career. I was working with Nipsey and Young Money. I was working with them early. It's just like at the beginning when people were now getting interested online because MySpace was one thing, but after the MySpace era, it was basically all right. Like, what do we do? Like, MySpace was it for a lot of
Right.
people. That
Yeah.
that's the only place they interacted. So I was just setting up their own websites, their own channels, own chats, and everything, and just giving them that power to have more ownership over their fan base and more control over their product.
Yeah, absolutely. That seemed to be the first wave of everything when people were
Hmm.
putting music on MySpace and tracks
Hmm.
on there, and then that kind of kicked off the whole music and social media thing. It seems
Definitely.
like,
Yep. That was
yeah,
the Soldier Boy era.
yeah, and that stuff blew up too on there. That was the early viral, it was
Yep.
like MySpace. But I kind of knew once you had a lot of creative freedom on MySpace to where you could custom design the backgrounds and stuff like that. I don't know if you
Hmm.
remember, but it got so crazy where it'd take forever to load your site, and
Yeah.
I just knew. I was like, oh man, I don't think this is gonna be good. Someone else is gonna come in and make this way more standardized. And
Yep. That's when they were now having flash headers and things like that. So,
right,
the bandwidth was a problem. People were just uploading because a lot of people that create, they're creative, but they're not necessarily technical. So they'll just create these beautiful things, but not understand like, oh, it's gonna take forever for your website to load up. It looks
right,
beautiful, but you got to hope people actually get to that point because most people online don't have the patience to wait for something to load up. They're going to move on.
yeah, it's
So,
true.
yeah. So we're
That's so
moving into
true.
a generation where we have to be as technical as we are artistic.
Wow, you gotta have both brains. You think, right?
You got to have both brains or you're going to pay a lot of money to hire people with brains.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the
that's
best thing is
that's what
to
it
invest
seems.
time learning.
I guess
Hmm.
it's the knowledge-based economy. That's
It
where things
is.
are
It
headed, right?
definitely is. It's the information age. So it's all about what
Hmm.
you know. The more you know, and that's why I'm telling people in times like this where it's a down market, this is the best time for you to be just upping your knowledge and learning new things because it's not going to be this forever. But while it is down, it's just a perfect opportunity to just learn new skills and get ready for the
Absolutely.
future.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you've seen the power of collectibles and what it could do for anyone's, personal finances and stuff like that, and how, there. I always saw collectibles as a two-part thing. One, I use it as an investment, but mainly it's a hobby. So I'm like I'm
Yep.
getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. There's a lot of history associated with certain things, or you can learn the whole backstory about a particular type of collectible. Or if you're in the
Hmm.
art world, you find a style of art or an artist that you like that you're drawn to. You can learn about the artist, learn about the pieces. I think there's a lot that can be built around some of this stuff. I mean, where do you see? Do you see people in the industry sort of adopting to more the idea of like adding collectibles as a part of what they do or their portfolio or
Definitely. Definitely. It's just all about giving them more education. The people do want them, but they want to know what am I going to do with them?
right?
Everybody's not a collector as far as, oh, I bought some great art and I'm happy with just buying the art. And that was the problem in the NFT market because a lot of people that did buy the art, they want to know, all right, so what's the utility? And every NFT doesn't have to have utility. The art is the utility.
Right.
So it's all about the artist and how they want to present it, because utility can either help or hurt your project. Because if you do put some utility to an NFT and you're not able to fulfill the utility, or it's not something that the people necessarily like, that can devalue the art because the utility didn't work. So it's it's something that you need to plan out and be very careful about. Are you presenting yourself as an artist? Is the art what you want to give value to, or is the art just something that leads to more access to you, things like that? You just got to plan it out from the beginning, so you don't just get in the market and do what you think the market is telling you to do. A lot of people get into NFTs and they think, I have to have utility. No, the utility can totally just be the art. And there's an artist named Ferocious. I love what Ferocious does, because Ferocious, even though it's balanced between the art and the utility, you really land there because you love the art, because the art is just so bright and vibrant. So people are just happy just buying the art alone.
Well, that's what it's going to boil down to. It's going to boil down to the art and the artist itself. So whatever NFT they bought, like if the artist holds up over time, it's going to be worth money. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The ones that don't, it just, it's just like anything else. You've seen it in the art world. The art world, it's different than my industry, because I'm in old US collectible coins. There's an established market going back, hundreds of years, if not more. If you get into ancients, forget it. It's just as ancient as the coins itself, collecting it. But
exactly.
But in the NFT world, to me, it's no different than the art itself. It's just another medium of art. So it's going to boil down to the artist itself, the piece, the significance of it. Like if an artist becomes popular over time, and then that's their, 1 or 2 NFT works that they did over a period of time, then we're going to see really high prices on that stuff going forward.
Exactly.
As to what it's going to be priced in, that I don't know.
Right.
But hopefully, I don't know if a lot of this stuff, you made mention to something, but I think if they can make the tokenized technology on the Ethereum blockchain fungible with some other, some kind of quote unquote stable token or whatever they want to call it, or even a digital dollar, if that happens eventually.
Oh, that's going to happen.
Definitely. So then if you could do that, then that's one layer of creating stability to the digital art world, and then having a clearinghouse associated with it. And I know people in the crypto world hate that, but it brings validity, that's the thing. Exactly. You can trust in it to a certain extent to hold, your digital art.
Right. The crypto world, I think the crypto world started off as a fantasy. People were more fantastically looking at things now. And I think what's happening now, it needed to happen, because it's just bringing more reality to the market. It's making people understand, all right, I have to be more of an investor. Dealing with these things, I have to understand investment. I have to study, bear markets, bull markets. I have to study trends. I have to really get into this in order to be a part of it. So this just cleared out all of the giddiness, all of the misconceptions. Everything is just being wiped out. And I think we're going to restart with a more educated crowd, and it'll make the market robust. But it's definitely not going to be too far from what we see with the real world art world. It's definitely going to be something that mirrors that, but just with a digital currency. So
it's another medium. It's like,
that's all it is.
You got to know art.
Make it a whole nother world, and the metaverse and all this stuff sounded so great. But, even with metaverse, a lot of my friends were buying Decentraland and buying all these things up and saying, yo, Knxtti, why you not buying land? And I'm like, I give things time, man. Like, this person may have built Decentraland, but there's going to be 1,000 other people that can build upon that same idea and better, because we learn it's open source. You take theirs and then you correct the mistakes and then you build yours. So I said, I'm going to give the crypto market some time before I invest in land and all these kind of things. But, the powers that be that were in it at the time, they were making it look like if you don't get land right now, you're never going to get, there's only certain, come on, man. This is digital. There's going to be a lot of metaverses,
Exactly. The concept is fascinating, but like I said, I think, in regards to this NFT stuff, you got to know art,
Definitely.
You got to be into it. And if you don't know it, you got to work with a dealer or someone that, can help you curate pieces and then put your money where it belongs, you know, like in the
Exactly.
better artists, do the due diligence that understands somewhat the art world and say, okay, this is a really good artist. He does this, and now this is his new digital work, and you know it's available, and you might have some good opportunities to get art like that if established artists are really, you know, up and coming artists right now are still going to create that, especially in a down market where there's now the hype I think is over.
Yep.
You know, there'll be opportunities there, but you have to know art. That's the thing.
You have to know art. You have to. And I only never worked with a gallery because I never really understood the gallery, and all of the information that I was getting about galleries, it had a bad connotation because I got a lot of information from artists that were trying and things weren't happening for them. So of course they're gonna say, you know, those galleries, they're bad. But the more studying that I'm doing and the more books that I'm reading and interacting with people, I'm like, all right, if you're knowledgeable, any space can be lucrative for you. You just got to know what you're doing. So if you just go into the gallery and you have no knowledge of how the gallery system works, then yeah, it can be a bad place for you. But if you understand what's going on and you work with a dealer, it's good. It's good to have a team. It's good to have other people, you know, helping you out. Like it's never just good to do things all on your own. You want some other people. You want some insight. You want people to play devil's advocate. You need somebody else to bounce ideas off of. So in the future, I do plan on working with a gallery, but I think I like the whole building the value of myself before I even step to a gallery. So when I do, it's
going to help
wasted.
for sure.
Yeah, it's going to help. Yeah. Exactly.
That's the, you know, Knxtti, it's just like, I see the same thing in my industry with coin shops. There's good galleries and there's bad galleries. There's good coin shops and there's bad coin shops. It's all going to depend on who you're dealing with, you know?
Exactly.
And I still believe in the system. It's a good place to showcase art. It really is. Right. You know, and then if you could get in a gallery that's got a prominent location, some notoriety, I mean, that's huge for an artist.
Exactly.
Because it puts you in front of the right eye. It puts your art in front of the right eyeballs, I think. But
exactly,
you know, you got to have some rapport with these people. You got to, like you said, educate yourself about how the system works, what the incentives are, and know what you can get out of the gallery. Say, okay, I want this kind of deal. And then if you have, you know, you have some buzz around you, I mean, obviously the gallery is going to accommodate you.
Exactly.
So
it's almost just like the record business. You know, if you come in as a brand new artist, you know, they have to do the artist development. They have to build you up so that you do look good to their clients. But if you come in and you already have a fan base, you've done a lot of the work for them and they just have to copy paste, you know, and like it's easier for them, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You have articles, you've been around, you've done shows, then it's easy for them. But you definitely have to put in the work first and show your value so that when you step to these people, they're going to treat you of respect because you demand it. You've done the work. But if you haven't done any work and you think, oh, you know, my art is just as good as Basquiat, nah, it's bigger than just the artwork. You know, Basquiat is Basquiat because Basquiat knew he had an idea and a vision of where he wanted to go, and Basquiat engaged media a lot. A lot of the other artists from his time that were graffiti artists that feel like, hey, he wasn't as good as me, a lot of those guys were playing the anonymous game and they weren't engaging the media. They just want to stay behind and nobody knows them and they're just infamous for their tags. But Basquiat knew from early, I'm going to get in front of these cameras, I'm going to be at these parties, I'm going to mingle with the high life because these are the people with the money. He had an idea of where he needed to be, and that's why his art is successful.
He put himself in the mix.
He put himself in the mix. Absolutely. So a lot of people just like, oh, they picked him, you know, they just wanted a token black guy. And I hate when people do that and diminish the work that he put behind himself. It's bigger than that. You know, this guy put in the work. He knew where he needed to be and he put the time into his art. And that's why he got seen, you know?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. You know, and there's a legend about that builds too. I mean, he lived in a simple place. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was like no furniture in there. He was painting constantly. It was, you know, and then people started, as he was in the mix, people started going to this like dungeon that he was living in and looking at his art and buying artwork right out of there. Can you imagine being one of those guys picking up an original Basquiat from his apartment and be like, here, I'll give you $300, you know?
Man, I got a piece from, I don't know if you're familiar with Al Diaz. But Al Diaz
No.
is the guy that the two of them, Basquiat and Al Diaz, were Samo. So when they first started writing, the two of those guys were writing Samo together. And I happened to meet Al at an art show, and I got some pieces from Al. And Al was telling me the story. He's like, man, Basquiat used to just give us stuff. Like he used to give us stuff, and we thought it was crap, so we wouldn't keep it. And like, man, if they had kept that, their lives would have been so much different. There's so many people that owned the Basquiat in those times in the 80s that didn't maintain it, didn't keep it, didn't think it was going to be anything. And now they're seeing like Basquiat's go for millions of dollars. That has to be a hard thing to swallow. It's just like people who had Bitcoin and probably sold it early and didn't get to see it go to 60,000. You know, they're like, oh my God, I should have kept it, you know?
I mean,
the
if
dude
you
that bought all the pizza.
If you love art and it's, you know, you buy something you can afford, then I think there's no reason not to keep it. Like, why? The older the canvas gets, the better it could technically become, you know what I mean? And then I don't know it, but you gotta find something that you like, I think.
That's
and then,
the thing.
Then you can really get into it. You can learn more about it. Like I started to get into LA street art, and that's sort of happening again, like with Alec Monopoly. Yeah. Look, he blew up. Yeah. He came out of nowhere. I mean, I picked up some stuff from him early on. And then, you know, there's other artists in LA now too, like Jimmy Paints. And then there's this girl who does the hearts, Jennifer Corson. You could see their artwork around town, but they paint on canvas and they sell original works. So it's just like, if you find something you like and you look, I like to always look at the up and coming people and see, you know, what they're doing and what's creative. And then I find something I like, if I can, you know, if I can get them at a reasonable price, and then I just put it in my space. You know, I don't plan on selling that stuff. It's a long-term thing. Like maybe I'll keep it probably 20, 30 years, if not more.
But that's the thing. You see, you're an art you have appreciation for it. When you come in it with just a money mind and it's just an investment for you, it's harder to acquire certain artists because you're not really even understanding what are you looking for. You have no emotional connection to it. But if you're somebody that comes in and you appreciate the art, like even with the NFT market, people are like, oh, NFTs are going down. And I'm like, I still own my NFTs and I love all of them. Right. I don't care what people think they're worth. I bought them for the art of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff, it'll turn back around, like CryptoPunks and stuff like that.
Definitely. Definitely. You know, you see the whole thing with NFTs, like even with the Bored Apes, a lot of people didn't understand how to utilize a Bored Ape. They bought one and they're waiting for it to flip. But look at Snoop Dogg. Look what he's doing. Look at the guy, Andy Nugent, I think his name is. He opened up a whole restaurant around his Bored Ape. So he made a personality out of his ape. So he's making money in IRL, in real life, off of his ape, while everybody else is sitting with this asset in their wallet with all of these perks that come with it, because you have ownership to the actual you have IP of the actual ape. So you can take that ape, make a clothing line off of it. You can take that ape, get the toys. You can make like those toys like Cause does. There's so much things that you can do, but these people are just sitting on the apes and waiting to flip it. I'm telling you, that's what's killing the market, is these novice investors who just don't understand the space. Yeah. With more understanding of the space, it would be a more robust space because everybody understands it and they're interacting the right way. But most people don't. So you only have like a handful of people that have Bored Apes that are really utilizing them for what they are. That is a great project. It's just that people don't understand what they have in their wallet.
You got to start educating people, man, about that.
I do. And you'd be surprised, bro. I educate. There's people who've been in this NFT market from day one. I was telling them in my classes, because I do classes, and I'm telling them, hey, pick up one of these Kid 8s. Pick up one of these Kid 8s. It's not till I was able to sell my Kid 8 that everybody's like, oh, I should have got one. People will learn, but to pull the trigger sometimes, it just takes somebody that's a visionary, and that we can't teach, you know? So we can educate. There's people that can tell you all about the crypto market, all about NFTs. Ask them if they've bought one. No, I haven't bought one yet.
But you got to be able to read in between the lines and then figure something out.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, it takes it's tough. I go back to this again. I keep having this conversation with people that ask me about entrepreneurship and stuff. And I tell them, and some people don't like it when I say it. It's just some people. Look, I've noticed when I had to manage people, and the main part about managing people is you have to identify what a person's strengths are and put them in the appropriate position to be able to take the company to the next level, right? So Some people are just, they excel in a structured environment where you give them very, stringent order and rules, and like, this is how we do this. This is how we run this. And then they're able to execute that job really well and follow it to a T, very orderly. And then there's people that are just more entrepreneurial. Like, you could kind of say, okay, this is what we're doing, figure it out. And they can. And then they could bring something all, totally new and creative to the project. So it's just, it depends on the type of person. Like, not everyone's got the entrepreneurial mindset,
Exactly. And then a lot of people don't like risk either. So risk is a big factor. And
it's huge. Like, you have to take risks.
Huge factor. Yeah.
And you got to be able to stomach it too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Like how we started the conversation, I told you, it's a, I'm here, I'm alive. So that mindset has brought me through so many downs, like ETH is down. I look at my ETH. I don't feel bad. Like, there's so many friends of mine that's like, oh man, like, look at my ETH. Last year I had this. And I'm like, bro, you still have your life. Like, don't worry about it. There's gonna be another good day. This is part of the market. When you got in, you understood bear market, you understand bull markets, there's ups and downs. Our heartbeat moves to the same rhythm. Right. It's ups and downs. This is life. So if you can't understand that, then you probably just need to work and get a guaranteed check that you're locked into. But for this market, you're going to need to embrace a little bit of risk.
See, I never got into the cryptocurrencies. I never, was heavy on that. I only liked it for its utility purpose. Like, when I seen digital art, that's what I gravitated towards. I wanted the art. So Ethereum was just a means of acquire Ethereum to buy the art.
Exactly. That's
so
what
I don't
like
really, I'm not hurt by the crypto market at all, because I don't really have cryptocurrency. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it don't matter to me. If you have digital art, that's one thing,
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But you were mentioning you do classes. Like, where do you offer classes?
Well, I basically have my own community. We used to have a Discord, but I kind of got tired of the whole Discord platform. So now I have a Telegram, but I mostly do my classes on Zoom, and I contact my people through email. So I'm very active on Instagram, and that's where I draw most people in. I do a lot of news articles and things like that, and just putting people on to things that are happening in the market.
Yeah,
and
I seen that on your
period.
Instagram. Got it.
Yeah, it's just life period, but it's a way to draw people in, because the thing is, you have to approach people with what they know before you give them something that they don't know. So I approach people with things that I think interest them already, and build that kind of trust and credibility between us. And then they start to want to, all right, CoinGod, where did you get that name? They start to inquire about things, and then I lead them down the path and I start educating them.
Well,
so
being a coin guy myself, I am curious, why coin guy?
Well, CoinGod, I got the name. Most people think it's from the crypto market, but I got that because I'm used to coining terms. I'm like a linguistic guy out here. Like,
Nice.
I'm good with lingo, so I always make up new lingo. So people like, yo, you always coining some new terms. So they just started coining CoinGod, because I just coin all these different things. Like, there's one, what's a band to me, that I used to always say, like, $1,000, what's a band to me? Next thing, everybody started saying that, what's a band to me? It's in a few songs and all kind of stuff like that. Wow. So a lot of people get a lot of lingo from me, and that's where I really got the name CoinGod from.
Wow. That's pretty cool, man. That's it's funny. It's interesting that kind of stuff, how you could use play on words and stuff like that. Yep. There was a famous line from a rap song. Always amaze the scholars when we coin phrases for dollars.
Exactly.
I don't remember what it's from. But that always stood out to me, because it does.
Find out who that. That's a good one right there.
Yeah, I can't. I think it's. I think it's
like
like
Nas. Would it be Nas?
No.
Or Jay-Z?
I think it's like. I think it's like Raekwon or someone from Wu-Tang maybe.
Okay,
but I'm skipping my brain. I don't know, but
Raekwon is a lingo. He's really a coin god.
Absolutely,
he's a lingo god. So yeah,
exactly. But I wanted to ask you about like tangible coins, like real coin, collectible coins, and stuff like that. Definitely. What do you make of that whole thing? Like, because you're really into the future and this whole digitalization and stuff like that. But what do you think about the traditional space? I mean,
I think that's a big space that people are looking past, because I think as
right?
we get more into digital, a lot of people are going to want physical, because there's this whole "you're gonna have nothing, be happy" concept that they're trying to run with. Everything will be digitized and it'll be easy. I think coins, even when the market started like when the market was being robust with the crypto and you start seeing cashless society, I started collecting coins because there was a coin shortage out here where you couldn't get coins at one point. And that really led me into thinking, man, maybe I need to get some of the old money because this stuff is going to be worth a lot in the future as people look for this stuff,
Right.
Like, I don't think there's no downside to that coin market, and it's such a small crowd of people who take it seriously that I know of. I'm not sure how big. I'm sure it's a big market, but I still think it's a small percentage of the world. People are not looking at that side of it. I got excited about coins when they started making the new ones, and then you had all the different states with all of the. That's when I started taking it seriously. Like, wait,
Interesting.
this is
Okay.
art in its own.
So yeah, it's probably good that the Mint did that stuff to really engage kids again and get their interest in coins, because that's how it starts
Exactly.
usually when you're a kid, and you grab it,
Yep.
you start a collection, and then as people get older and they're more established in their lives, some of the people that have done really well start now they can afford to buy dream collections. So and then
Hmm.
that's what sort of keeps the whole thing going. And the exciting thing is now because of the internet, and I feel like
Hmm.
post pandemic for us, because coins I think they're very visual, the
Yeah.
look of the coin and that kind of thing. So Instagram was really good for coins.
Mm.
And you see a lot of people starting to build Instagram communities, showcase their collections and stuff like that, and give it, so you could see this visual representation of what my coin collection looks like. And then now I see a whole new wave of kids like coming
Getting
in to
in.
yeah, it's really exciting. I'm
I
super
think I
excited
want to.
about that.
I want to do. We're gonna have to keep in contact because I want to learn a little bit more about it. I just think I never had anybody around me that understood the market, so that's why I never really got into it. But I definitely see the value in it, like
Mhm.
super valuable. Even as I educate people on fiat money and all the different stages fiat money went through to have those coins, like it's just history captured. Like you
Mhm.
can like somebody from ancient Mesopotamia held this coin,
Right, right.
like
Well,
yeah,
for the
it's some
people,
kind of
look, for
energy
the
to
people
it.
that were attracted to collecting things, right?
Hmm.
I mean, the coin market's very traditional in a sense. So you're not going to have there's not going to be a lot of the dangers and the problems that you see in the NFT world.
Exactly.
That needs to flush itself out. But if you're talking about collecting, 19th century US coins, type coins, that kind of thing, classic coinage that are basically like the blue chips of coins,
Exactly.
right? Those type of coins have such stability in price. There's a lot of price discovery. They've been, they have a very stable group of collectors who are actively competing to have the best collections. So, and there's not a lot of volatility in the price. It's not
Exactly.
something like the gold market or the silver market where it changes every day.
Right.
The prices move sort of with the pace of auctions, but you don't see
Right.
the same volatility like you do in art. So
Right.
like going back to Basquiat, a Basquiat one year could sell for $500,000. Next year it could sell for $5 million. Then it could fall
Hmm.
to sell for $700,000.
Yep.
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yep.
Sometimes it depends on how they marketed the sale, who was participating. I mean, there's all these factors, and that exists to some extent with coins, but there's a lot. They're priced within a range. It's
Hmm.
rare to where something really goes above market. And the only time that usually happens is when you get two guys that are just gunning for each other in an
Right.
auction, that go way up. But let's say I had the second to that coin, like the second nicest piece. I'm not going to, I'm going to, as a seller, I'm going to try to get higher price because the one above went really high. But
Right.
there's a limit to what I could get from that. I'm not going to be able to get anywhere near close to that because people understand the market. They know the price.
Right.
They know what they're buying. They
Right.
do the research on this stuff. So,
Now let me ask you
and I
this: the
think that's
buy.
what has to happen in the art world also. Like, and one
Yep.
thing we have in coins that the art world doesn't have is we have third party grading agencies. So when a
Mm.
coin is certified by a company like PCGS, they guarantee that that coin is authentic, and they guarantee that their opinion of the condition of the coin. So they give it a specific condition grading.
Right.
So that doesn't happen in the art world. You can buy,
no, it doesn't.
You could buy a piece of art from Christie's, and I think they only guarantee it for a year or 2 years. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. I'm not 100% positive, but
man, there's even been, not to cut you, there's even been a lot of galleries. I forgot the name of this one gallery, but they were selling fakes.
Right. Yep.
And there was no way for people to tell. I mean, it came from this gallery and they're an established gallery. I don't think that many people can go out there minting authentic coins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
no, bro, imagine you go out and you buy a $5 million painting and 5 years later you find out it's a fake.
Crazy.
That
happens more often than people think in the art world.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
And that's a scary part. I love art, but to me, it's not as safe as an investment as rare coins.
Yeah, facts.
You know,
I would have to say that's true.
And I'm not saying that because I'm personally into rare coins. It's just a fact. You know,
that's
from what I've seen over the years.
That's a fact. That's why I'm utilizing the time while I'm here to kind of like connect with my people directly, because they can trust in the art, being that they have a connection with the artist. I don't think that Basquiat and them had that kind of, because they didn't have social media and all these ways where they can directly connect to people. So when people are buying a authentic Knxtti painting, they know I got this from Knxtti. Most of my collectors have pictures with me, all this kind of stuff, so they can actually prove, all right, I met the artist, you know. But that's only good for while you're alive. When you pass now and your art is out there, you know, and then you have all of these AI that can manipulate and create something. They can just look at 5 pieces that you've done and create a 6th piece that looks like something you would have done. Right. So the art world they have to really think about that, like technology, all these different things that are coming in. We have a lot of things to be concerned about, you know?
Well, I think, you know, the good thing maybe that the blockchain has is I think everything's got a unique, you can create unique keys, right? Yep. If I'm not mistaken, to each piece. So that's the cool part about digital art, is in a sense, like, it's easier to authenticate because, you know, now you have, you know, this digital key that belongs to a specific piece of art that can be it makes it way easier to root out fraud and stuff like that. But you're right, though, the AI is going to get really good at mimicking stuff, but they won't be able to, you know, they can't they're not going to, you know, steal your key. That's the thing.
Exactly. And that's what we've seen in the NFT market. I think that's what brought us, most artists, to the NFT market, was a way to certify. You know, like, we were looking for certification without having to go through, you know, the gallery and appraisals and all this kind of stuff, you know, because it can be pricey to a new artist coming out to get all of that kind of stuff done. Right. So just being able to mint and people knowing that's Knxtti's account and I'm buying it from the authentic artist, that was just... That was just beautiful, you know. That's what we see in the market, more so than just trading and buying a bunch of coins. Right. It's just the stability.
Right. But and like, you could use it too, like a utility. So like, if you want to buy like an original Jeff Koons piece, you know, maybe it comes with a digital title. So now, okay, this is, we did all the due diligence. This is a real Jeff Koons piece. This, you know, if you want to buy this and you want to be the owner, we'll transfer the title. Yep. And that will be the digital version of that. Exactly. That exists on the blockchain. So there's utility for this stuff. It's just, you know, it's got to flush itself all out, and then we'll see. And then imagine
if there's events around the artist and you can use your NFT to enter these events for free now. Like, if the museum throws something and they honor your NFT, all right, you got the NFT free pass. Like, absolutely, those kind of things, you know?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities, man, and it's
I think we're real early. We're real early in the market.
A lot of opportunity, but I'm glad you're doing all this stuff. So how can we find you online?
Definitely go to Instagram at CoinGod TV on Instagram. If you want to see my art, it's at Knxtti. That's Knxtti. So I separate CoinGod from Knxtti. Knxtti is more on the art side, and then CoinGod is more on the giving them news. And that's up across all platforms. So Instagram is the same thing. Twitter is the same thing. Facebook, same names everywhere.
Got it. And are you doing consulting or?
Yes, definitely
Got it.
doing
Okay.
consulting. I'm doing consulting. I'm doing mentorship with young artists, teaching them the ropes, showing them about grants and all these different possibilities for them. So I'm very into the educational side, especially with this year in the down market. This is the time that I utilize to more educate people because I want to get them ready for when things are up. They know exactly what they're into. So yeah, I definitely do consultations.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's good to know. Are you gonna do like have a more of a presence on YouTube, like doing instructional stuff, short videos, all
Ah,
that?
I'm glad you asked that because that's what I'm building now. I started my YouTube about a month ago, and I'm building it up now. So most of my classes and everything will you live on YouTube. So I say like January, that's when people should look out for Knxtti on YouTube, and I'll be painting live and doing a lot of stuff on YouTube because
Wow.
YouTube is the algorithm on YouTube. I love the algorithm on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and it's lucrative if you know what to do on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome, dude. That's great. Like
Yep.
you gotta, you gotta link up with too. Do you know Jay Ortiz? Did
No.
we have mutual friends to cue in the audience because they're gonna be watching this, but um,
Okay.
I don't know if Joss ever, our mutual friend, ever introduced you to Jay Ortiz or Johnny Ortiz. Like his brother
No.
does art, and then he paints live, and he does these experiences in LA. They're really cool. You got to
Oh
check them
man,
out.
I gotta check that out. That sounds like something I would really want to check out.
Yeah, for sure. I think you would really like it.
All
So
right.
that's going to be your main focus going forward. You're going to like try and build out your YouTube channel, and then obviously continue doing your consulting and that kind of thing, and then
Definitely.
artistry
Definitely.
above all,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. And I'll be in LA. I think for December I'm gonna be in LA like the third week of December. So I'll definitely try to, link up out there and see what's going on.
Awesome. Well, you got to come visit me out in Vegas one time too.
Oh, you're in Vegas?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I
in
love
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah.
I wanted to live in Vegas. I was in Vegas for a month. This was in January. I started the
Oh,
year off in
nice.
Vegas. I love Vegas, man.
It's a cool town.
Vegas is a nice blend between California and New York. I think you get
Yeah.
everything in Vegas. You get
Well,
everything in Vegas. I love that
we
place.
get a lot of New Yorkers came here, and then a
Hmm.
lot of LA people are coming here now. So post
Yeah.
pandemic, especially. So yeah, you're right.
And I
And we're
like
getting more and
you
more
guys
here.
got art. You guys got an art district that's growing too.
Yeah, big time, man. And
Hmm.
we got the Grammys. We're getting more events, sports teams now. I mean, Vegas is really growing. It's growing
Yeah,
rapidly. I'm excited to see where it's going to be in the next 5 to 10 years because I just
definitely.
see more and more people coming here, more and more stuff getting built out, and it's cool. It's a fun time. There's always something to do every night of the week if you're.
Every night. It's something fun to do. It's always something relaxing to do. You guys got like state of the art spas. Like Vegas is just even if I was there for a whole month and never went to a casino and enjoyed my whole
I
time.
hardly ever go to the strip now. Like that's
I
the thing.
never go to the strip. Like when I'm out there, it's just so peaceful. I don't even need to go to the strip. It's just so much other stuff to do. The only thing that I need Vegas to have, and maybe I'll invest there, is a good Jamaican restaurant.
Really?
That's it. That's it. That's
Yeah, I
all I
haven't
ask.
found one yet. LA's got them for sure.
Yeah, LA's got them, but if Vegas gets that, then you guys can qualify as a utopia. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we'll work on that. I got.
Definitely.
All right, Nadi. Well, it was a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and then, I'm looking. I'm gonna definitely be looking out for you because I see good things happen. So,
I appreciate you, my guy, and I'll stay in touch too because I want to learn more about the coin world. I can't be coin god and not know nothing about any coins. So
well,
definitely
use me as a resource.
will do.
All right, man. Pleasure. Appreciate it.
All right, my guy.
Take it easy, man. Later.
All right,
Bye.
stay in touch.